Hello, my name is Ken Lowe, and today it gives me great pleasure to share with you some of our research projects related to warfighter protection and performance enhancement. Before I jump into my presentation today, I'd like to acknowledge my postdoc, Dr. Irene Zhao, as well as my PhD students, Anne and Shinlin, for contributing to these projects. Now, in addition to my role as a professor in the Department of Structural Engineering, I also run and lead the Armor Lab, where our mission is to come up with new technologies to protect and enhance the performance of our physical and human assets. And we do that by developing stimuli responsive materials and coupling them with tomographic methods and algorithms. Now, there's three main areas that we focus our attention on. The first of which is related to physical asset sustainment or structural health monitoring of our civil, aerospace, mechanical, and marine structures. In addition, we can also consider the human system as a structure itself. And as a result, a big majority of my group is dedicated and focused on the human body itself, where we are interested in technologies that could help protect humans as well as our military service members. Last but not least, we're also coming up with new technologies that could better support and enhance warfighter capabilities. So for today's presentation, I'll focus on these latter two topics. Now, in terms of enhancing and helping our warfighters perform better in operational environments, our goal is to try to enhance warfighter lethality, resilience, and readiness by equipping them with a multifunctional wearable sensing platform. If we consider the various requirements and operational constraints that these military service members undergo, especially in field-like environments, we know that these sensors need to be low profile, lightweight, conformable, and be able to capture the necessary measurements that could better assess their health. So with that, our research approach was to start with commercially available self-adhesive elastic fabric, where many people use as a way to prevent musculoskeletal injuries, or if an injury has occurred, be able to fix these over major muscle groups to help promote blood flow and speed up recovery. We can then build on our expertise in developing functional nanomaterials and nanocomposites, such that we can create a self-adhesive sensor in order to monitor the movement of people. But because our goal is to deploy these out in the field, we also focus on using low cost and scalable manufacturing methods so as to produce these sensors. So we believe that these motion tapes, as we call it, will help us assess performance, tailor training, detect injury precursors, and also help facilitate active rehabilitation, thereby improving warfighter performance. Now, early on in this work, we first started to investigate how our motion tape behaves as a skin sensor by mounting them onto different parts of the human body and monitoring different functional movements. As you can see here, this motion tape on the left is mounted on the wrist of a subject. And by recording the electrical response of our motion tape as the subject bent her wrist, what we can find by processing the images taken during video is that there's good one-to-one correspondence between the electrical resistance of our sensor versus the angle calculations. But it's not just that we can use these as a discrete strain sensor. In fact, we can cut them and paste them onto the human body to form unique patterns, such as this Y pattern, which is mounted near the subject's shoulder. And we can monitor the individual waveforms coming out of these sensors during functional movements, such as performing tricep dips, which gives us a unique opportunity to assess how these motions are being performed, whether it's during training or in the field. Another unique advantage of motion tape is that not only does it measure angle movements or joint angles and human body movements, it's also capable of capturing how your muscles are being engaged during these functional movements. So in our test, where a subject performed bicep curls using different weights, we saw that the sensor's response would increase when the subject had to exert muscles more severely in order to lift a heavier weight. In addition, one of the unique aspects of these stimuli responsive materials is that they are sensitive to strain everywhere, which means that we can use methods like electrical impedance tomography, or EIT, to measure data at the boundaries of our sensor and be able to reconstruct and figure out what is going on everywhere within this enclosed space. So to validate that, we can take our nanocomposite mounted on a piece of foam, apply pressure, and as you can see from the right-hand side, we're able to capture the magnitude and the locations of where pressure or strain is introduced on this nanocomposite. So in a similar manner, by coupling EIT with our motion tape, in addition to being able to record joint angles, we can now observe detailed strain distributions on the surface of this subject's knee, for instance. Furthermore, we know that motion tape, as well as other types of body tapes, are usually applied in very unique patterns. So as such, we can use this hexagonal pattern mounted on a subject's biceps and see that EIT is capable of resolving where our muscles are most flexed during movements like the bicep curl. Besides working on the healthy human population, we've also had the opportunity to work with our injured warfighters, and specifically amputees. Now, while prosthetics have enabled amputees to regain their lost functionality of walking and mobility, they do have some issues. In particular, the residual stump or residual limb of the amputee, due to how the volume changes over the course of the day or a year, they could induce pressure hotspots and pressure points that ultimately lead to pressure ulcers and skin irritation and infection. So to prevent this from happening, we've helped develop some smart and connected socket prostheses where we could incorporate some of those stimuli responsive nanocomposites within the pressure liners of our socket prosthetic system and show that we can accurately capture pressure hotspots in a laboratory environment. Now, last but not least, we're also, of course, interested in helping enhance the performance of our warfighter. So one of these applications of the motion tape is to mount it on a person's trigger finger. And what we could do is we could use these motion tape to monitor the reaction of the warfighter when they recognize the target and figure out how long it takes or the speed for which target recognition to physical movement and pulling the trigger occurs so that we can begin assessing their neurophysical response. And in fact, by comparing our results with optical motion capture, we see that we're getting very comparable results against the industry's gold standard. But furthermore, motion tape is deployable out in the field environment since it doesn't require a network of fixed cameras. So with that, today, I think with motion tape, we've shown that it could help us with monitoring the physical performance of the warfighter, which helps improve their resilience. They can also enhance training for improving readiness. And last but not least, for the injured population, these smart and connected sockets could help with military service member retention. With that, I'd like to thank the U.S. Office of Naval Research for supporting this research, as well as the help and support of all my collaborators and these organizations. Thank you.